This is a statement produced by the Zimbabwe heads of Christian denominations, made up of the Zimbabwe Council of Churches, Judah Caesar, Zimbabwe Catholic Bishops' Conference, and the Evangelical Fellowship of Zimbabwe, on the current situation in Zimbabwe. This statement was produced today on the 15th of November 2017. We read from Luke chapter 19, verse 41 to 44. As Jesus came near and saw the city, he wept over it, saying, "If you, even you, had only recognized on this day the things that make for peace. But now they are hidden in your eyes. Indeed, the days will come upon you when your enemies will set up ramparts around you and surround you, and hem you in on every side. They will crush you to the ground, you and your children with you, and they will not leave within you one stone upon another, because you did not recognize the time of your opportunity, or kairos, from God." Many Zimbabweans are confused and anxious about what has transpired and continues to unfold in our nation. While the changes have been rapid in the last few days, the real deterioration has been visible for everyone to see for a long time, especially during the public political rallies of the ruling party, coupled with the deteriorating socio-economic conditions. On the 30th of October 2017, during the signing ceremony of the Memorandum of Association between Zimbabwe Catholic Bishops' Conference and the Zimbabwe Council of Churches, it was highlighted that the abrasive and exclusionary politics that continue to increase the use of ethnic identities was going to contribute to the weakening of our social cohesion. Now we have reached a new chapter in the history of our nation. As we look at this situation as the heads of churches in Zimbabwe, we are reminded of the warning that Jesus gives in Luke chapter 19, verse 41 to 44. Jesus weeps over Jerusalem when he saw the catastrophe of its destruction and the massacre of the people that was imminent. Quote, "Because they did not recognize the opportunity or the kairos which God was offering them." We see the current situation not just as a crisis in which we are helpless. We see the current arrangement as an opportunity for the birth of a new nation. Our God created everything out of chaos. In order for something new to be born, we need to clearly define what we think is the real problem. Proper naming of the problem will give us a clear sense of where we must go as a nation. What is the nature of our problem? It may be easy to describe our problem in terms of the economy and the accompanying myriad of social challenges. But all these are manifestations or symptoms of a deeper disease that has affected our nation for a long time. This was the challenge of the loss of trust in the legitimacy of our national processes and institutions. There is a strong sense that our hard-earned constitution is not being taken seriously. There is not enough confidence whether the separation of the three arms of the state, the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary, are functioning in proper relationships of checks and balances. There is a deep concern that there seems to be no clear distinction between the ruling party and the government. There is concern that the priorities of the poor have been relegated to charity of those who have access to national resources without proper commitment to addressing the root causes of their problems. There is a sense and a general feeling that the wheels of democracy have become stuck in the mud of personalized politics, where the generality of the citizenry plays an insignificant role. It is in this lack of democratic renewal and the resulting stagnation, sterility, and fatigue that has culminated in the current situation. To be fair, this situation is not only the doing of the ruling party and the government. It is also the result of the connivance of the different arms of the state and the complicity of the church and civil society. All of us, at some point, failed to play our roles adequately. The church has lost its prophetic edge, driven by personality cults and superstitious approaches to socio-economic and political challenges. Civil society over time has become focused on survival and competition and lost the bigger picture of the total emancipation of the population. But the current situation is also a result of many people in the ruling party who feel outdone, but who have enjoyed unbridled access to the trough of patronage. Journalists fend the politics of hatred by giving it prime space in the name of sales and profits. So in other words, all Zimbabweans must take some blame for the current situation. But we must find a solution. What must we do? The church makes the following calls. First is the call for prayer for the nation. We call the nation to a moment of prayer for repentance, deep reflection, and discernment. We all need to go before God and ask God to forgive us for ways in which we contributed to the situation through neglect or wrong action. We need individual and collective deep reflection on what this means for all of us as individuals, as families, as churches, and as the nation. We need to find meaning in this apparently meaningless situation. We also need to collectively and individually discern the next direction for us as a nation. Number two, we call for calm and peace. Right now, there is not enough information, and many people are peddling opinions as facts, especially on social media. Some misinformation is causing despondency and fear. We are calling for peace and calm. Let us not sensationalize the situation, but encourage calmness and modesty in the way we are engaging. Number three, call for respect of human dignity. We are aware that the Zimbabwe Defense Forces is currently managing the situation, but we want to make it clear to them that it is their responsibility to ensure that human dignity and human rights are respected. This is not a time to allow for lawlessness and vindictive and selective application of the law. Number four, the call for a transitional government of national unity. The Zimbabwe Defense Forces have stressed that theirs is not a military coup, but an effort to manage the current situation. In light of this position, we as the churches are calling for the formalization of a transitional government of national unity that will oversee the smooth transition to a free and fair elections. Number five, a call for national dialogue. Finally, we are calling the nation to a table of dialogue. The current situation gives us an opportunity to reach out to each other. There is no way we are going to go back to the political arrangements we had in the last few days. We are in a new situation that cannot be resolved without dialogue. This dialogue can not only happen within the ruling party. What we need is a national envisioning process that will capture the aspirations of all sectors of society. The church, alongside other stakeholders in the private sector, academia, and other spheres, can establish such a national envisioning platform as an inclusive space to enable Zimbabweans from all walks of life to contribute towards a democratic transition to the Zimbabwe we want. In conclusion, the church derives its mandate from its stature as a sign of hope in a situation of despair and discouragement. God has put the church in the nation so that it can be a conduit for the healing of the nation. It is God who promised that if my people who are called by my name humble themselves, pray, and seek my face,